Good morning, everyone. Today I am going to send you the explanation of your poem Wander Thirst. Okay, so this poem is written by Gerald Gould, and this poem consists of 6 stanzas, and each stanza consists of 4 to 5 lines. So total there are 28 lines. So I have already shared a video related to the recitation of this poem. You have to recite the poem by copying that video. It is quite a good recitation. You have to recite this poem in a rhythmic way. Okay, so firstly let us discuss about the title of this poem, that is Wanderthirst. Before beginning this poem, I have shown you some pictures related to beach, deserts, mountains, and lakes. Then I have asked you whether you want to visit these places. Have you visited these places? Which places you would like to visit? So some people have given me. There are different students, and they have given me different answers related to it. Some people wanted to visit, some people have already visited, and most of the students have given me answer that they want to visit different type of places, different places. They have their dreams to visit different types of places, and there is quite a good reason after that. Okay, so this wander thirst is also related to traveling also. Okay, so here the poet is actually has an urge to travel and explore every corner of the earth. However, as we will see and as we will read the poem properly and deeply, we will understand here the traveling the world does not means only to travel the world. It actually shows the life journey. It is actually shows the life as a journey for the poet, and he says that we must continue to on this journey at all the times. Okay, so that there should be no opportunities missed by us. Okay, so we should use all the opportunities. Okay, and we should not lost in any opportunities that is given by God to us. We must live every day like it's our last day, and take our life as a gift. Okay, so this is the meaning of your wander thirst means that the poet here has an urge to travel. Okay, he has a dream, or we can say that he wants to travel whole world, but actually he wants to show you the meaning here with life. He wants to actually create a life journey. Okay, so the poem is set in a world of porous boundaries. Porous means where you can actually go from one boundary to another. Okay, you can travel from one place to another without any problem. Okay, where one can travel freely one place to another easily, without any disturbance, without any difficulty. Travelers need not to worry about crossing international borders without proper documents. As you people already know, then when we have to visit some other country, like there are some countries where we can visit without visa, but there are many countries where we need to have proper document. We need visas and everything, so that we can visit that places. So traveler is saying that I want a world where I can visit different places without worrying about the documents, because there should be no he says that I am having a world where there is porous boundaries. Okay, so now this is the world that has not been fully mapped as yet. So he is talking about a dreamy world here. Okay, his imaginative world where this world is not created yet. We don't have that in our map. Okay, this is the world where the sun and the stars do the job of the compass. So it means that we don't have compass right now. Okay, in this poet's world we don't have compass, so we use sun and stars to know the place. As you people already know that pole star always show the north position. Earlier when we don't have this compass and all that, so people used to see the sun place and stars place, and they try to understand the direction of that place. This is beautiful world, and the poet wants his fellow men to see all its wonders. And he says that this is very beautiful world where we don't have any boundaries, and where we can travel from one place to another without any documents. Okay, and this world is not mapped yet. Okay, so let us start with our first and second stanza, then I will tell you the explanation. Beyond the east the sun rised, beyond the west the sea. and the east and west the wander thirst that will not let me be. It works in me like madness, dear, to bid me say goodbye. For the seas call and the stars call, and oh, the call of the sky. So this is the first and second stanza that is given to you in your book. Okay. So now what you have to do here is that first and second stanza for the seas call. Okay, in this stanza the poet describes what he can see before his eyes, like what he can see before his eyes. He says towards the eastern side of the sky he can see the sun rising. Okay, so he says that to the eastern side of the world we have the sun rising at the start of the new day. So it means it's a new day. Okay, on the other hand, towards the western side, what he can see? He can see the waves of the sea. He can see the waves of the sea. Okay, so now these two sides are very unlike each other. Okay, very different from each other. One is showing sun rising and one is showing waves in the sea. Very different from each other, and yet they both appeal to the poet equally. So they are appealing to, they are calling the poet. Okay, they are calling the poet, they are appealing to the poet equally. They desire to travel. He says that you should travel, and they are not letting him to be. Okay, so he is uncontrollable here. Okay, they are calling, so they are appealing him to travel. Okay, to travel the world. So travel is a compulsory as a thirst. Thirst, do you understand? Quench. Okay, so here there is a thirst of traveling, and it is quite compulsory for him to travel. That must be the quenched immediately. Okay, so it should be quenched immediately, so that he feel good. These two sides are very unlike each other, and yet they both appeal to the poet equally. The desire to travel is as compulsive as a thirst that must be quenched immediately. The poet calls the desire as his wander thirst. Okay, the poet calling his desire as wander thirst. What do you mean by wander thirst? To the desire to explore. Okay, so he is desiring to explore the world. Okay, and says that the desire is so strong that it always manages to have an effect on him. Okay, he cannot control this desire. He is showing this thing. Okay, it does not leave him alone, and that will not let me be. It does not leave him alone. It work in me like madness, dear, to bid me say goodbye. Okay, so here instead it drives him like a madman. Okay, he is walking like a madman. It does not leave him alone. It makes him say goodbye to everything. So he is saying goodbye. Bid means saying. Okay, bid means commanding or saying to say goodbye to everything, whatever his parents, his friends, his brother and sister, his siblings, everyone. So he is commanding, these two things are commanding him to actually bid goodbye to everyone. Okay, then it drives him like a madman. It makes him say goodbye to everything he has known till then, to his home, to his parents and everyone. He can almost hear the sea, the stars and the sky calling. So he says, na, for the seas call and the stars call, and oh, the call of the sky. So he is saying that he can listen to the sounds of the stars, sky. Okay, they are calling him out to explore them all down to their very last detail. So he says that I can listen to their sound, and they are calling me and telling me to explore them, to explore each and every corner of seas, stars and the sky. Okay, let us come to the next two stanzas. I know not where the white road runs, nor what the blue hills are, but a man can have the sun for a friend, and for his guide a star. And there's no end of voyaging when once the voice is heard, for the rivers call and the roads call, and oh, the call of the bird. Okay, so here's the second stanza and third and fourth stanza that we have. In this stanza, the poet says that he is an inexperienced traveler. Okay, he can see a white road and it attract his attention, but he does not know where the road is going towards. Okay, so he says that he is an inexperienced traveler, and there is a white road going on. He doesn't know where it is going. Okay, now next one is that he has perhaps heard or read about the hills that looks blue. Okay, So and from a distance, but he does not know the exact location of those hills. Okay, so he has some information about Blue Hills, but he doesn't know what is the location of those hills. However, his ignorance does not frighten the poet. He is not frightened here. He is not afraid about this thing that he does not know about the roads, about the Blue Hill. Okay, but what is happening here, he knows that he can always look at the position of the sun or a star in order to map out the general direction in which he is journeying. Okay, so however his ignorance does not frighten the poet or make him nervous in any way. He is not at all nervous. Okay, he is not at all afraid, even though he does not know the exact position of the Blue Hills and the White Road. Okay, he says that he can always see the stars and the sun for the exact location, for the general location when he is journeying. Voyaging means journeying. Okay, so the sun can be his friend, encouraging him even in the darkest or stormiest night. Okay, so he said that I can make the sun and the stars my friend, and they will help me in the darkest and the stormiest night, and the stars can act as a guide for him on his way, and the stars and the sun can act him as a guide for the on his way. Make sure he does not miss a single sight there is to see. So he wants to see each and every place, every corner of the each and every corner of the world. The poet also says that the calls of the river, again he can hear the sounds of the calls of the rivers, road and the bird. Okay, earlier he was able to hear the sea, star and sky call. Now he can hear the river, road and bird call. Okay, so the river, road and the bird is a voice in his head, and once anyone hears that voice, he can never stop being a traveler. He said, because I can hear these kind of sounds, I can never stop the traveling. I have to travel the world. Okay, so last two stanza of this poem is that yonder the long horizon lies, and there by night and day the old ships draw to home again, the young ships sail away. And come I may, but go I must. And if men ask you why, you may put the blame on the stars and the sun and the white road and the sky. So here the last two stanza that we have. What is this? He says in this stanza, the poet says that he can easily see the horizons. If he looks around, means he can see each and every horizon. Horizon means the line where the sky and land seems to meet. There is places where it looks like that the sky and the land is meeting. So these are horizon. He says that he can see that places around, and from that horizon he can detect two ways movement of the ship. He says that he can see the two-way movement of the ship. Okay, what is that? The first way in which the ship move is to sail back to the land from the sea. So one place it is moving to the land from the sea, and this is the kind of movement one sees in the ship that have become old. Okay, so this is the movement that is old and have made many journeys. So means that the ship is coming back to his home, and they have already made all the journeys, many journeys. And the other way in which the ship moves is from the land out to the sea. So one is leaving the house. Okay, one is leaving the house and it is going to the sea, and this is the kind of movement one sees in young ships and have not been operating for a very long time. So this is the movement that we will see in the new ships, and they have not actually traveled a lot, and they are going to a new journey. They are making new journeys, and these ships have not been operated much. Similarly, the poet also make these two kind of movements. So he says that he is also making these two kinds of movement. He does come home once in a while, for he has been journeying for years. He said that here he is talking about old ships and new ships. Old ships are going home from the sea, and the new ships are going to the sea to have a new journey and leaving their home. So there are two types of movement, and he says that the poet is also doing the same. He has done the same thing. He is coming back to home time to time for small time, and then afterwards he is going to some other places. Okay, so the next stanza that we have, he cannot remain on the land for very long. He says that he cannot remain on land very long, and soon he must go out of into the sea again. He wants to again explore the new places. Men often risk Men often ask why he still makes such a long journey. A lot of people asking why he travels so much. The only probable answer one can give on the poet's behalf. Okay, he says that there is only one answer that I can give, or somebody else can give, is that he cannot ignore the calls of the star, the sun, and the white road and the sky. So here also he can hear the call of the star, sun, and the white road and the sky. All these elements demand he keeps traveling, exploring till he reach every corner of this planet. So again he says that if you want to blame, you should blame star, sun, and white road and the sky, because he cannot ignore the calls of these things. Okay. So when the other people ask why he travels so much, he says that it is because of the calls of the stars and the sun and the white road and the sky. That's why, so that's why he was able to that's why he is traveling so much. So here I would like to tell you in short what is the short summary of this poem. The poet feels the call to explore the globe. He says that he can feel the call to explore the globe from east to west, and to follow the sun and the sky, sea. The poet likens the wanderlust of to be kind of illness here. Okay, it feels like it is illness that forces him to say goodbye to his home and loved ones. He does not know where he will go, but he will use the sun and star to guide him. Once he starts on his journey, there is no end in the sight, as the river, birds, roads urge him to go on. So he said that every time these calls are coming to him to explore more. Just as ships are constantly docking and leaving, the narrator might return home, but he obliged to leave home again, as he is constantly pulled away from home to see the sights of the world, including the sun, the stars, road, and sky. Okay, so this is the poem that we will be able to do today or maybe tomorrow itself. So I have done all the explanation. If there is any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, bye bye, students.